Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our very first Heritage Hills Live. This is our first streaming event where our founder and managing attorney, Essita Duncan Esquire, will be answering your estate planning questions today. I am Dr. Teray Dixon, and I will be your moderator for today's streaming. If you missed today's event, don't worry. You can check us out on Acita's YouTube channel at Heritage Hills Law on YouTube. For more info on Essita or Heritage Hills Law, you can also check out her website at www.heritagehillslaw.com. Before we get into our question and answer session, I would like to introduce Mrs. Essita Duncan Esquire. Good afternoon, Essita.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Essita Duncan. I'm a estate planning and estate administration attorney. I serve individuals and families in the District of Columbia and the state of Maryland. And I've been practicing for over 22 years. And just to give you a little background, what estate planning is. So, estate planning is when we engage in the process of putting a plan together to take care of you, your loved ones, and your assets in case of incapacitation, or you could just be unavailable and upon your death. And with estate administration, we do that too as well. We help your family wrap up your affairs upon your death. So that's it in a nutshell.
Welcome. We're all going to be experts after these live streaming episodes with Mrs. Essita Duncan at Heritage Hills Law. So let's get into our first question. We did invite our newsletter subscribers to ask questions for today's live streaming. And our first question is, are bank accounts, including CDs and POD beneficiaries, protected against going into probate? Essita?
Sure. So generally, yes. I advise my clients, depending on their goals for planning, who their beneficiaries are, to name at least a primary, secondary beneficiaries on all financial accounts, insurance policies, CDs accounts, investment and retirement accounts, if their goal is to avoid probate and that their beneficiary is of appropriate age and able to handle what they will leave behind.
That's right. So make sure you are updating those beneficiaries. That's very important. Our second question is, if you have a pending lawsuit and pass away before that lawsuit is settled, how do you ensure that the persons listed on your will actually receive what has been left to them? Essita?
So typically, if you're involved in a lawsuit during your lifetime, you have brought the lawsuit in your name. And let's say during the course of the lawsuit, you pass. Normally, your personal representative, and that's the person that's appointed by the court, whether you have a will or you don't have a will, the court appoints a personal representative. And that person will then come and stand in your shoes and continue that lawsuit. And depending on what type of lawsuit it is and who would receive those funds are payable to your estate. And if you have a will, your will would typically dictate who inherits that money from that settlement. If you don't have a will, then the probate laws would say who inherit those funds. And that's all depending on the type of lawsuit and who stands to gain from the lawsuit.
That was a complicated question.
It is. So I like to say, this discussion conversation we have, let's not take it as legal advice. The best advice is to actually sit down with an estate planning attorney like myself and actually to go through your specific scenario. Keep in mind, each scenario is different. Each family and individual is different. So how we apply the laws and the rules when it comes to estate planning may be a little different based on your set of circumstances. So one of the reasons why we're doing this live, because we want people to feel more comfortable about talking about estate planning, more so than coming to this live chat and thinking you'll be able to take it and do it yourself. We just want to encourage people to be comfortable. Let's talk about estate planning. Let's feel more comfortable about talking about the subjects with our family so that we're not leaving a mess behind and we're actually expressing what we would like to happen to for ourselves, our loved one, and one of the most important things beyond our loved ones and ourselves is our assets. We worked hard for it, so you have the right to say what happens next.
Yes, and we have some videos on some of the risks you're taking with doing DIY estate planning. If you check out her YouTube page, again, at Heritage Hills Law, that we have some other videos and streams that will answer some of those questions as well. Bring your questions again every fourth Friday of the month. We will be here live if you have any other questions about estate planning in DC and the state of Maryland. We do have a question from our chat box. We have a young lady who says, new to this. That's okay. We are all new to this. We welcome it. Are things like DNRs or health decision documents part of estate planning?
Yes, and I'll reiterate. So with estate planning, it's the process of putting together a plan, and so we want that plan to be complete. So that plan, when we're planning, we're thinking about ourselves, and then in thinking about ourselves, we're thinking about health decisions, financial decisions during our lifetime, and then what happens upon our passing. So appointing somebody, whether to make healthcare decisions on your behalf or financial decisions on your behalf in case you're unable to, that is an important part of the estate planning process. So I do recommend, sometimes people just say, oh, do I need a will or a trust? But then they forget about the financial power of attorney or the healthcare power of attorney, or whether if they want a DNR, a do not resuscitate order. So that's all a part of it.
And are there any restrictions to the age group that can receive that needs a DNR or healthcare proxy?
So I would say everyone 18 and older should have estate planning document. So whether it's your healthcare proxy, your power of attorney for healthcare, your financial power of attorney, because once you're an adult, you have to give somebody else the right to speak on your behalf. So even if you have children, they are full-fledged adults. And just because you're mom and dad and you want to run into the hospital and say, I want this done, your child, who's now 18, while they will always be your son and daughter, they are an adult and they have a right, if they choose to exercise that right at 18 and older, to say what happens regards to their health and with regards to their finances.
Excellent question from our audience today. Any other viewers on the line that may have a question? Please put it in the chat in the box at the bottom right of your screen. We do have a live chat today, and we're here on Heritage Hills Live answering your questions with Essita Duncan.
So one of the things with estate planning is basically you're in the driver's seat. You get to say, if you plan in advance, you get to say what happens to you, your loved ones, and your assets during your lifetime. And so even with children, a lot of times we think, oh, I don't have much. Why do I need to plan? But really, you're planning for yourself, you're planning for your loved ones, you're planning for children. And you're planning for all those things that you may have accumulated during your lifetime. So I always hear people when we sit down, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, I don't have much. So we're hoping with these live streams that we change the course of that conversation, that people stop saying, I don't have much. Because let's think about it. Whatever you have acquired during your lifetime at this present moment, it's important. And so you have the right, the freedom to say what happens next. So it's up to you. And as long as you have the ability, you can plan and say what happens.
Any other questions on our chat? I see we have a few more people who joined us today. Welcome and good afternoon. It is Heritage Hills Live. We will be here live every fourth Friday of the month. So if you missed part of today's event, join us again next month in February on the fourth Friday of the month. We will be here again. And any other questions from our online audience?
And one of the things we'll try to answer next month, a lot of people have questions, especially when they come in and make an appointment, is about probate. What is it? What am I supposed to do? Should I avoid it? Shouldn't avoid it? What's part of probate? So we'll try to answer all those nitty gritty probate questions next month. So stay tuned. Feel free to start sending those questions in so we can make sure that we answer all your probate questions. But right now, if you have any specific questions regarding estate planning, why should I plan? Why is it important? And not just to have a will or just to designate your beneficiaries. It's important, and it's good that you do it, but we also want you to communicate. One of the things that I'm learning in administering estates after a person passed is you can see all the emotions and everything that takes place, and a lot of the different emotions and the family fighting that I experience with families could have been avoided if during the estate planning process, they not only planned, but they also communicated and talked about it. Because, we all know our family and we know how our family feel about each other. And so if we talk more comfortable about talking about life, death, what happens next, and communicate that to each other, you'll see even with that, we can stop a lot of waste of assets and family bonds being broken if we just get comfortable and talk about it.
That's right. We need to know where those documents are in the house and making sure those documents stay safe and secure, so you don't miscommunicate that information. Right, Essita?
Right. And it's one thing, I've experienced this before, and I normally tell clients at least two people you trust should know where those documents are. Because it's one thing to have them prepared, but then upon your passing, if no one can find them or know that they exist, then that's a problem.
Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat. I want to thank you all for joining us today. This has been our first Heritage Hills Live. We will be back again, as I said earlier, on the fourth Friday of the month. If you missed a part of today's episode, you can see us online, again at YouTube at Heritage Hills Law. We will be posting today's live event on our live playlist. You can also reach out and contact Essita through her website at www.heritagehillslaw.com. If you think of questions that you didn't get answered today, we can definitely keep those in the queue for next month. Again, if you go to our contact us page on www.heritagehillslaw.com, you can submit other questions there and you will see them answered next month live here on the fourth Friday of the month. Before you leave our channel today, please make sure to like and subscribe. YouTube likes us to have all the subscribers we can get, so please subscribe. And you will be notified the next time we post our next event, or any other pop-up events that come up. Anytime we post a new video, we're always doing something. We're trying to always do something here on her channel, to broadcast more information about estate planning. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.